Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video in Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Xayah updated complete guide. So of course, as usual, before we really get into it, don't forget to check out Xayah's basic guide. I'll put up in the cards above for his skills, learning order, tips and tricks, as well as a couple of combos. But without further ado, let's jump straight into the build. Now of course, you will see the build is basically the same. The main, real and only change is actually the change in rune of Lethal Tempo. But of course, we still have things to explain. So first up, we start with the Gluttonous Greaves, AD and Omnivamp, no surprise there. Bloodthirster again, first item, also no surprise. Huge amounts of AD, not Omnivamp, but Physical Vamp, as well as gaining additional stats when you're high on health. And then, next item, Navori. Now, a lot of Xayahs actually like to go for Blaster first and then Navori, but I personally have always preferred Navori first because I always find that I get into some extended fights where I do get my second run of cooldowns back on my W and E if I have Navori, whereas with the Magnetic Blaster I wouldn't. So I like to go for Navori first. Of course, it gives you the cooldown faster. Obviously your W and your E cooldowns are the most important ones because they are very huge sources of damage for you. So next up, you're going for Magnetic Blaster, gives you attack speed, as well as giving you the extra attack range, and also just giving you the static shift passive. So now, something that you might be wondering, and something that I was wondering is, hey, you already have Lethal Tempo, you already have your W attack speed. Do you really need Magnetic Blaster? Well, the answer is technically no. You could go for IE in this spot into Mole Reminder, but what I personally found is that if you get a third item, Magnetic Blaster, you can get out your feathers a lot more quickly. Now, we know Lethal Tempo, it has to stack, so you have to attack people multiple times for it to stack. But one thing that you can do if you have Magnetic Blaster is you can W, auto Q, and then pull back and root someone very, very fast just because of the attack speed you have. And just, your short combos are going to be a lot easier to pull off with that extra attack speed compared to if you had attack damage. Now, of course, in the long run, over the course of a very long fight, let's say the fight is like 20 seconds and you can hit a lot, having Lethal Tempo plus IE is actually going to be better. So in certain situations where it's not about catching people out and bursting them down, it's about long drawn out fights, IE is actually better here. But last item is obviously going to be Mole Reminder for the Armor Pen as well as the Grievous Wounds. For your final item is generally going to be a defensive option, so something like Maw Malmortius against AP, which is normally your most common last item. You of course can have a Sterex, you of course can have a GA, all items of this sort. And for the runes, again, I think Lethal Tempo is going to be the default rune for every ADC. I think the extra range from Lethal Tempo is just insane, and really, it's really hard for Conqueror to beat that extra range. So, next up, we're going to go for Brule, of course, as an ADC auto tank a lot. Giant Slayer to counter the tanks. And, of course, we have Legend Alacrity for the attack speed, which, again, with that explanation of getting out the friends more quickly, that's why we go for Alacrity, because we already have two sources of healing at the beginning, so Omnivamp, a little bit less important for Xayah. Now, Bone Plating, of course, for defensive capabilities, and Flash, together with Ghost for the summoner spells. Of course, with Xayah, you can kite people very well with the Ghost, but if you really need Exhaust, you can go for that as well. So without further ado, let's jump into the gameplay. Okay, so now of course, before we really get into it, as usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and of course be sure to address them. So as we know, Xayah generally does best into champions who want to go into you, who want to get close to you. So generally melee champions, assassins, champions like that. So in the enemy team, we have a decent amount of that. We have Pantheon, we have Rammus, who literally wants to jump on top of you. We have Darius, who wants to get close to you, wants to run you down. So also, of course, really good Xayah into these three champs. Now, of course, Caitlyn is not one of those champions. She is a champion of very long range, and neither is Soraka. But of course, you don't want to really play, you never really have an enemy team that has 5 people who want to jump on top of you. Of course, if the support was an engager, you would have a 4th one. But either way, generally, if you see like a good number of people who want to go into you, Xayah is always going to be a good option here. And I actually picked this particular gameplay of Xayah not because we did really, really well. In fact, a little bit of a small spoiler, but we don't get an A or an S in this gameplay at all. It's not one of those standout games where you really carry and you really do very well, but I think this is a very beautiful game to demonstrate why Xayah is really strong. We have many times where people are trying to run into us, and we are able to kite them out, we're able to root them down, and we'll be pointing those out later on in the gameplay itself. But for now, we're only in the laning phase. Of course, we're not really at that point yet. Actually, we are, because Rammus is running straight into us. Here we root him down. He's not really able to do very much because we're really close to the tower, so he didn't really achieve that much. He did get a taunt on Nami, I believe, and Nami did take a little bit of damage, but honestly, it's nothing too bad. It's just a little bit of poke, and we're pretty much fine. So no real big deal here. We're just gonna continue farming, continue laning, and get a ward down to kind of spot if Rammus is gonna be coming for us again in that bush, because he's most likely gonna come through the river from that way. Soraka silences. Rammus comes in again, and again just gets auto-attacked by me and gets his bone plating broken. Can't really achieve very much with us under tower, so I'm not quite sure what he's trying to play at here. Maybe looking for a dive on the Nami, I don't know. But he's deciding to gank mid again, where he has found a wild Varus, and Varus cannot really escape, and he's just getting run down by the Rammus. I believe Rammus is going to get the kill, he does. And yeah. So a little bit out of control there, and Nasus actually solo kills the Darius, which is kind of embarrassing for the Darius. Nasus hasn't even back, only has a Ruby Crystal. Darius already has a Bramble Vest and still ends up dying to Nasus somehow, which should be a very easy matchup for Darius, but something went wrong somewhere. Anyways, here we're really kind of just getting pushed in pretty much all the way. We're actually running Soraka down here, and the issue is that my support has no mana. So I realize my support has no mana. I decide to run backwards instead of forwards, because if I heavy commit, I basically it's me in the 1 versus 2. Because if my support has no mana, she can't heal me, she can't enhance my damage, she can't do anything, and I'm basically playing 1v2. And obviously that's not really the way to go. So we're just going to get off what is going to be a good trade, and we're just going to back. Something interesting to note is that both Soraka and Caitlyn both have heal, which of course is reduced efficiency, because in case you guys didn't know, which I do believe probably some people don't know this, but if you have recently been healed by Summoner Heal, and you get healed again by Summoner Heal, the effect is reduced tremendously. So that's why you never have a double heal, double heal bot lane, because of that effect. Anyways, here we are going to continue to CS. Not much really to do here. Xayah is a decent matchup in the Caitlyn, because Xayah doesn't really get bullied so hard by Caitlyn compared to other champions. I've always pretty enjoyed the Xayah Caitlyn matchup. Of course, it's not a matchup that Xayah wins, but it's a matchup that Caitlyn doesn't really win very hard. So as far as mitigating the impact of what a Caitlyn can do and stopping her from snowballing, Xayah is pretty good in terms of that. Here Soraka uses the silence again. Now, in case you guys want to know, Soraka shouldn't be spamming silence randomly, because it's the major tool that dissuades people from engaging onto Soraka or taking a very huge trade, because the silence AoE silence area can make a very, very huge difference. And the fact that she's just using it like that means that we can have the green light to go for a trade at least before her silence comes back up. Here it is again. She spams the silence out. The main way you can tell a good Soraka player from a bad Soraka player is how they use their silence. Because every Soraka player is basically just going to heal people. She flashes away as she gets caught by the wave. So it's going to heal people, going to spam their Q. It's nothing special there. The ult is also kind of obvious. It's also a heal. So then the main differentiating factor of how good a Soraka player is how they use their silence. So those not so good ones, like the one we're facing here, is just going to walk up and smack that silence onto you at any opportunity they have. But in reality, if you want to be a good Soraka player, you want to hold your silence and only use it at an opportune moment. Let me give you an example. Let's say you see a Rammus. Let's say the Rammus is on the enemy team and Soraka is on my team. You see Rammus rolling towards us. You can silence directly on top of you, which is going to make sure that Rammus cannot taunt you. It's going to make sure that his roll is going to be disrupted. Things like that. Or even let's say you're a Rengar, right? So if you know there's a Rengar enemy team, you want to hold the silence. The moment Rengar jumps on someone, you can silence him, and he may not be able to actually one-shot the person because of that silence. So holding Soraka's silence and using it for the correct opportunity is very important. You can also use it to disrupt certain channels. Like for example, if Samira ults and you throw the silence on top of her, it's gonna interrupt Samira ult, which is essentially gonna make Samira useless. So yeah. So here the Soraka has decided to roam to the Herald fight, and this leaves Caitlyn alone. So here you can see we're taking a very aggressive trade. Caitlyn makes a mistake by launching a Q, which allows us to get a root on her, which also gives her gives us a good trade. And here Caitlyn gets knocked up. I'm trying to feather combo her, but unfortunately it's a little bit awkward because my feathers don't actually end up connecting. So we do end up getting the kill on her, but it certainly did look a little bit messy. So here we get a number of plates. The fight at Herald is gone, so I'm actually gonna. I was thinking of recalling, but we get we RNG the turret taker, so we end up greeting for another plate. But Rammus jumps straight on in. Thankfully for me, he taunts the Nami, so I actually end up surviving. If he taunted me there, I would be the one that is in trouble instead of the Nami here. But Nami ends up dying for my sins by us greeting over getting the extra plate. And we are going to actually complete our items after we got a number of plates as well as a kill on Caitlyn, and we're gonna head back out to the lane. So you can see the effect of this is that I'm now 1k gold up on Caitlyn because of the fact that her Soraka rotated over. However, you know, it's not all sunshine and rainbows here because now we are stuck without our Nami and we're rooted in the tower. I try to kill the minion using my E, but there's simply too much damage, and Rammus apparently doesn't take damage from towers somehow. Yeah, so that was a pretty good dive by them, I have to admit. And now Varus is hero substituting me as the ADC, and meanwhile the Pantheon is just getting a number of you know, free damage onto the mid lane tower, and there goes the mid lane tower. First tower is gone, and yeah, so not really the best rotation in my opinion. So now we are going to head back to the lane, and unfortunately we can't stop our tower from dying either, so instead we're just going to clear the wave. And we know that Caitlyn is in that bush putting down traps, so yeah, I don't know about that one. And here we have a little bit of technical difficulties with the volume, so apologies for that. Volume is going ham here, going haywire. And yeah, here we pick up a little blue buff since there is a buff share. Unfortunately, Nami did miss her spells, but I ghosted preemptively to try to follow up, but unfortunately that's going to be a little bit of a waste of the ghost. Thankfully, ghost cooldown isn't very long, which is one of the main reasons why ghost is a very strong summoner spell for ADCs. But yeah. So here, while the enemy team is busy pushing in, we're actually gonna sneak a Skull Crab here, which could have easily been taken by the enemy team. But we're gonna sneak a Skull Crab. Most likely the enemy team has backed, as in the enemy bot lane has backed. Rammus and Darius are dead, so here we're gonna be safe for the moment, because we can see Pantheon on the bottom side of the map as well, so we know he's not gonna be ulting up here. So here I'm realizing that, wait, we have a small window where we can actually get something done. Pantheon's not gonna come, so neither is Rammus or Darius, so we're pushing out a little bit, and we're getting an additional wave done. Now, I don't really want to go for the tower, because I was thinking that Darius and Rammus could actually come here, but at this point we actually see them on the opposite side of the map. Either which way, we couldn't have gone for it anyway, because as you guys can see here, you know, Soraka and Caitlyn are coming back to the lane. So here at this point, Soraka healing is obviously an issue. So I'm going to pick up the Executioner's Calling early to actually cut the healing from Soraka and ensure that we have a better chance of killing whoever it is we're trying to kill that Soraka is healing. So early anti-heal is always going to be essential for against a Soraka team. You could argue that you should go for anti-heal the very first item of the game, even before boots. I think that's a little bit premature, but I think at the minimum, you know, maybe after boots you can go for that one. Yeah, so here the enemy team is doing the dragon. Obviously we can't really contest because our jungler is not interested. We do get a pick on the Pantheon though, and it looks like a huge fight might break out right here. It turns out it kind of does not, because it's kind of both teams kind of just hovering a little bit. I'm getting down a little bit of damage onto the Rammus. Rammus has a twin guard for his item, by the way. And nothing too much really ends up happening. We can't really force the tower either because there's 3 people defending it on the enemy team, so nothing too much really comes of it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and grab this red buff while I farm up the chickens. And yeah, not really very much happening. I see the mid wave that no one is actually taking. I see multiple enemies on other lanes, so I'm relatively safer to just take this mid wave. Caitlyn is now here to kind of defend a little bit. I'm not too scared of Caitlyn because we do have a decent lead against Caitlyn. However, we did have to get taxed by having to build the anti-heal, so Caitlyn has 2 full complete items away, whereas we do not. And now we're headed back to the top lane. We can see Soraka Pantheon in mid lane. We know Caitlyn was just there, and Darius is on the opposite side of the map. So mainly it's probably Rammus somewhere around here, but I'm guessing that Rammus has recalled. So here I'm actually deciding to commit to the push, and I'm deciding to go for the tower. A little bit afraid that Pantheon would come and ult here, but I guess we're fine. A huge fight is breaking out in the bottom lane. So here again, we are going to quickly pick up the Skull Crab, and I do believe I'm needed, so I'm going to actually Hex Gate down right here to the fight, which any team can obviously see. Pantheon is ulting down. And here it is going to be, this is one of those fights I was talking about where Xayah is really good. So here, I have popped my ulti to ensure I'm untargetable. I root 3 people down. I get taunted, unfortunately. 3-man knockup from Nami. I'm just attacking people here. I'm going to get a pullback again onto like multiple people. And we actually turned the fight. I think that if I was any ADC that's not Xayah, maybe if I was like Samira, I could have cleaned up the fight. But almost any other ADC other than Xayah, this situation would have just been me hex getting down and dying instantly. So they were able to kite them multiple times and get off, multiple, good routes onto a couple of people. So we actually turned the fight, get 2 kills back, and we're actually in a pretty decent spot. Now at this point in the game, I have my first two complete items. I have my anti-heal item, and at this point I decided to sell my Gluttonous Greaves and get armor boots into QSS. Now the reason why I'm getting armor boots is because, as you can see on the enemy team, they are a 100% AD team. Of course, Darius is AD, Rammus is AD, my own reflected damage is AD, Pantheon AD, Caitlyn AD, Soraka not AD, but Soraka doesn't actually do any meaningful damage. So basically full AD team. Of course QSS, very essential for cleansing like Rammus taunt as well as like Pantheon stun, things like that. So we decided to invest into the armor boots, which is going to have huge value in this game. So next up, normally at this point is where we will go for our Magnetic Blaster, but here I'm realizing the problem, which is that you guys will see in a fight that's about to happen here. Maybe I'll go through that fight first. So here Rammus goes in. You can see I'm attacking Rammus, I'm doing no damage to him. And here I'm attacking Darius, I'm doing no damage to him either. I'm attacking. I'm free hitting here for like a good 10 seconds. And here my team is dying. I get a very nice root again. And here I get the block from Nami, and unfortunately here I ult, I try to survive. Nami gets one shot here, I barely survive and dodge that Pantheon spear, and I have to slinker back to my base. So here I realize the main problem, which is that I'm attacking Darius and Rammus, and they're taking no damage, and I need to get through their front line before I can get to their back line mainly. And here you can see they're even trying to not go for the end, but they're pushing all the way into the inhibitor. So I'm realizing the main problem, I have to get rid of Rammus, I have to get rid of Darius. So I'm looking at their itemization. What do they have? Well, they both have armor boots. Not Pantheon. Rammus has mainly armor. He has Dead Man's Plate, he has Twin Guard, not a lot of health. Darius does have a little bit of health with his Triforce, but he also has mainly armor. He has Bramble, he has armor boots, things like that. So I'm thinking the best buy I could go for here is to go for anti-armor. And of course that means building Moral Reminder early. So this is one of those relatively rare matches that you want to go for a very early Moral Reminder. Third item Moral Reminder is not exactly very early, but it's earlier than what you normally would build in. So here again, Vera's getting caught by Rammus. He really has nowhere to go. I'm trying my best to really do something. I'm deciding to change focus to Soraka because I don't do any damage to Rammus. I try to go unstoppable. I try to escape. I'm trying to ult to dodge Caitlyn's ult, but Darius' spin eventually does manage to kill me. And yeah, this is where the game starts going a little bit downhill, because despite the fact that I'm free hitting them for a good amount of time, I'm not really doing any damage. So here I got the Last Whisper. I should be able to do something now. And I'm really hoping to complete the Moral Reminder ASAP. And this is also one of those fights where, where I think IE is actually better than Blaster, because you can see in all these matches I'm able to free hit for so long that the IE value is probably going to be way better than the Blaster value, because Blaster's main value is being able to get out the feathers very fast for very short fights, short trades, but IE's value is like when you're able to get into long fights and really auto attack a lot to get a lot of that bonus damage off of your auto attacks. So I'm thinking here that IE is going to be better, so I'm going to probably go Moral Reminder into IE. Enemy team is doing Baron. I'm thinking Masty's probably gonna go into maybe try to steal. He's hiding in the bush, but everybody knows he's there. Turns out he doesn't actually try to steal at all. Baron gets taken, Nami gets engaged on, Nami dies, Master Yi now gets engaged on, Master Yi dies, and Varus is now joining the fight. He hits nothing and he has to run away. Now this is such a huge throw. Like, if you weren't gonna try to steal anyway, don't go near the Baron pit. Like, going near the Baron pit and not trying to steal is the equivalent of throwing your life away. You can see Nami and Master Yi died for really no reason, because Master Yi didn't even try to steal. If you are not gonna try to steal, don't go near the Baron pit, just give it to them. Don't let them get Baron and get you killed as well. That's like a double whammy, and it's trash. So here, Nasus is now getting collapsed on by T-Hex as well as the 2 tanks. And he is probably not going to get out. Even though he's going to take some time to kill, he's tanky, he's not going to get out. He does, however, buy us time to clear up the previous mid-wave and clear up this middle mid-wave as well. Because when they get Baron empowered, it's going to be really difficult. Now here Rammus comes in, I'm just going to go unstoppable, I'm going to kite away. You can see now I'm actually doing damage to him because now I have Mole Reminder. He's actually melting, so that's the huge difference that Mole Reminder actually makes. Now I actually do damage. Rammus is forced to recall because I did pretty insane amounts of damage to him. And here you can see I'm basically attacking the TX to stack up my lethal tempo. Now TX does do a decent amount of damage to me, but I heal a lot of it back from the Bloodthirster. So here I have a full stack lethal tempo based off of hitting the TX. Now I'm just blasting the TX who's blasting my Nexus. I kill the TX, get rid of him, root the Rammus down inside my base. Pantheon is also inside my base. I'm hitting whoever I can. I'm popping everything I have. I kill the Rammus. I pop the ulti. I root the Darius down. I'm killing the Darius. I flash away. From, I believe that was the Pantheon. Pantheon thankfully did not stun me. He stunned someone else. And we managed to defend the base successfully. That was a close call. It was a 200 HP Nexus. Again, if I was not Xayah here, I think we would have lost the game because I wouldn't have been able to kite them out and root them under the tower, being the Rammus as well as the Darius, root them under the Nexus for them to tank Nexus shots and for me to kill them. But that was really huge. Now Elder Dragon is up. I'm trying to ping my team to come over because only Caitlyn as well as Soraka are alive, and I can outburst the Caitlyn with my feathers, so I know that I can secure Elder. And Rammus is dead, so here we really need to come Elder. I need my Varus to DPS the Elder, but he is not coming. Master Yi actually comes all the way over here, and I'm gonna burst down the Elder and secure it. I'm not sure why my Master Yi is not smiting, but yeah. Now here I'm very close to getting IE. I'm pinging it. And I even give Master Yi the blue buff. I'm pinging it, but I want this Grom because this Grom is going to let me complete IE. Now, Master Yi takes the Grom, and I'm getting a little bit pissed off here. So I'm pinging IE, and I'm pinging him retreat, and he finally backs off so I can complete my IE off of taking these wolves. Now, I could go rotate to mid lane or something, but that's going to waste a lot of time just walking. So here I'm able to ping him off. I get IE here, and at this point, 4 full crit items is, of course, huge. And here I'm pinging that Rammus might be coming, and I'm trying to join up with my team. I spot the red buff share here, so I'm trying to actually sneak the red buff share here. I think this is a mistake taking the red buff because I think that I should be with my team here to kind of help them out. Now Rammus actually into my team 1v3, and my Nasus actually kills Soraka. He kills Caitlyn, and at this point I'm not even needed. I'm basically just here to be in the picture when the match finishes. So we get the tower. Darius is trying to defend, so is Pantheon, but we have Elder Dragon and we have all 5 people here. Pantheon tries to go in, but he's just going to die to Elder Dragon. Darius as well gets caught, trying to finish off the kill with the Elder. We get it, and we're going to die to the Nexus, but no. Nami manages to finish the game right on time, and we actually survive. So yeah, I mean, this match is not one of those outstanding ones, but you can really see how it really works, like how Xayah is really good into these champs, and you can see we actually did the most damage in the game, although we're not even the MVP. But I mean, I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.